That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Comic Reviews. I hope all is going well. Bit of a later start tonight, but got a ton of books to talk about, so this should be a good time. I just want to say, before I begin, that the audio drama I've been working on over the last month or so, or literally the last 2 years, is finally done and is being posted on Saturday the 29th, question mark? I should know that, but I'm always comically unprepared. Yes, Saturday the 29th, we're doing a live YouTube premiere at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 12 in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time. I hope as many people as possible are able to come from the premiere, hang out in the live chat while we watch it. I will warn you, it's about an hour long, a little more than that actually. So just get your snacks, get your popcorn. We'll treat it like a movie or something. But yeah, I hope a bunch of people are able to show up and make it for the live premiere. It's one of those things where if it ever garnishes any views, I'm pretty sure it's going to be long term. But I want as many people there as possible for the beginning of it. So hopefully that pans out, and it's not just me with like 3 other people like, hey guys, isn't this scene cool? Anyway, so yeah, I'll leave a link to the live premiere and the trailer for the audio drama in the description down below. Or you know what? Fuck it, it's my channel. Why don't I just play the trailer and I'll just yeah, that would be cool. Let's see here. Where do I have it on the computer here? I'm going to get it queued up. We're going to watch the trailer real quick, and then I'll talk about what I have for the episode tonight, what I have for comics tonight. All right. Yeah. All right, hold on. Let me cue some stuff up. I don't
In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light.
There are many tales in the Book of O, but have you ever heard one that's not about a Green Lantern?
In loudest din.
Captain, to all hands, load the escape pods. This is a full evacuation.
But sir, the gravity! The pods won't make it!
Or hush profound.
So, then we're doomed.
My ears catch evil's slightest sound.
Attention, Green Lanterns. You are harboring Grylar.
Let those who toll out evil's knell.
This is a crime punishable by extermination.
Beware my power, the F-sharp bell!
I just thought, I don't know if you guys could hear that, but hey, it's got animation to it, so maybe it looked really cool. Anyway, I think that's enough waiting around and enough shameless self-promotion, so I hope that everyone that's available is able to come to the live premiere of Green Lantern Ring of Victory. Anyway, let's go ahead and go on. Tonight, we'll be talking about The Flash Year 1, Chapter 4. This is also Flash number 73. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 8, Justice League Dark number 12, Batman Beyond number 33, Doctor Strange number 15 already, wow, Action Comics number 1012, Wonder Woman number 73, as well as Batman Damned number 3, and not to be outdone, Trade Talk is making a return, and we're keeping the Green Lantern theme tonight, where we'll be talking about Tales of the Green Lantern Corps, Volume 3. If you follow me on Twitter, you know I'm going to have a lot to say about this one. So, should be a good time. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. We'll talk about Flash Year 1, Chapter 4. I gotta say, Josh L. Williamson, he's doing it for me. He's not been my favorite writer on anything in particular, but when I've read him, I've enjoyed him for the most part. I was reading his Flash run earlier this year, and there was some stuff going on at different parts of it where I'm like, okay, yeah, it's a little iffy, but I can dig it. It's all right. And then I kind of just slowly lost interest, and that happened, 2 or 3 times throughout his run, where I'd read a couple issues and then kind of lose interest. But this has been the thing that I think has been the most well-written and has been keeping my interest for the longest period of time. And, like, when it was first announced, I was really ready to kind of rag on it. Because, I mean, it's another Flash origin, and I feel like we're just stuck in Barry Allen's origin over and over again. It keeps getting more confusing. But, I want to say it's not really doing the time travel thing, except it is doing a time travel thing, just a completely different one. And I'm kind of okay with that. Like, when it was first announced, I was like, okay, so now we're going to get more Reverse Flash stuff, and it's just going to go on and on and on. And I'm really impressed that this doesn't. I got to be perfectly honest. The fact that Barry's new origin, with his mother being murdered and his father going to jail for the crime because there was no evidence of supernatural interference, even though it was Reverse Flash, that's there. It's in the background. It's like, that's why I became a CSI, and he mentions it. In pretty much every issue it gets a mention, but it's like really a blink and you miss it kind of moment. And the majority of the story is focusing on Barry Allen and Iris West's relationship, which is, it's nothing like super special in comic books, but they have a nice relationship that I like, generally speaking. It's also deciding to focus just on this really weird kind of kooky idea that you could kind of only get away with the Flash, with him trying to stop, like, an evil ruler in the future who's just a normal villain for him right now. I kind of dig it. It's making the Turtle low-key a legitimate threat of a villain, which is kind of cool. He's apparently immortal, and he's just planning to wait out the Flash until he has the opportunity to strike properly. And then, like, we figure that's probably just off in the distance, but no, it kind of just ends with the Turtle of the future, who's like this dystopian ruler, bringing future Flash back in chains. And I'm like, you know what? I dig it. I talk with Manos often, and our thing with his thing rather with the Flash is, it's all just fake science facts just thrown at you constantly, and it's kind of boring. And this has that. This has the Turtle talking about, like, oh, I discovered an energy and it allowed me da 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 da. And that's there, but it's done in a way that I actually enjoy, where it's not the focus. It's not what's letting anything be won or lost, at least not yet. The story's still driving it. That's just the conceit. And so the conceit is given some time. It's explained, but it's not deeply interwoven and doesn't get as much of a dive in as I feel other Flash stories probably do. So yeah, it's pretty good. And it's got this really interesting, kind of intense opening, because the last issue was a bit of a cliffhanger with Barry stopped a bunch of bullets from hitting Iris, but he's still new at this, and so he didn't catch them all, and one went into his chest and it's making his way toward his heart. And he knows that he's going to have to vibrate his hand to remove the bullet. Which is like probably one of those things where, oh yeah, it's not a big deal. He's the Flash, he just does that. But since it's new Flash, this is a really intense moment, because so far everything he's vibrated his molecules through has exploded. And that's pretty good. That's pretty cool. So it's got this nice intensity to it, and meanwhile, Iris West is just outside the door, wanting to talk to him, and she doesn't know what's going on the other side of the door. And so he's got to try to remove the bullet so he can talk to Iris, because it's a big emotional moment for them, but he can't let her see him as the Flash. It's just, I don't know, it's a nice stack of drama and action all going on at one time. So I really appreciated that. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, pretty good one. We also get the Turtles' origin or backstory in this. That was cool too. Ultimately, I've been pretty happy with this arc so far. Will I continue after this arc? I don't know. I don't know. Oh man. Alrighty, let's go ahead and go on and talk about Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 8. Tom Taylor continues his ridiculousness. Peter decides to talk to what's her name? The old lady superhero from a couple issues ago. Is it the Sentinel or something like that? The senior citizen, whatever it was. And ask her for help because the Prowler was breaking into this office that Aunt May is working at, this homeless shelter, and Peter's trying to investigate it, and so he goes to talk to the Prowler, gets attacked in all his death trappy stuff in his lair, but then the Prowler turns it off and is like, oh, sorry, I'm the Prowler again, yeah, but I'm not doing it to steal, I was trying to do some research, and turns Spider-Man onto this, what looks like a scam going on, where this GoFundMe style fundraising site looks to be owned by some really unseedy people, and it's not looking good. So Peter gets the senior citizen, I'm just going to call her that because I can't remember if that's her real name or not, to kind of like break in or sneak into the place and get them in and yada yada. And then when they do, they meet the one behind it all, and it's this really creepy looking dude who's got all these monitors hooked up to himself, and it's like, Fairgrade, that's the fundraising site, goal $5,200, please help, mother of two, unable to pay for, Fairgrade goal $3,500, a small act of kindness could turn my life around. I like that idea. That's kind of neat. That we've got this, tragedy of modern society that people have to GoFundMe to pay for medical bills, and it's being taken advantage of by a villain. That's clever. That feels fresh. That's good. It's not just a bank robbery. It's not just a mugger. It's a new crime. That's a good way. It's a new kind of crime that feels like it's very much possible. And that's kind of a cool thing to have a villain be based around. So Spider-Man and the Prowler break in to try to help, and senior citizen says, "Oh no, you must stay away." So it's getting more kind of comic booky and over the top than I'd hoped. I was really hoping every issue would just be a perfect standalone, really down to the ground kind of story. And we've gotten some of that interspersed with these more archy, over-the-top, crazy comic book shenanigans. So I'm good with it. It is still definitely delivering with what I want, and it's interspersing it. And, to be fair, Tom Taylor does write a really good Peter Parker. I cannot help but laugh at some of these lines. They are pretty damn funny. These aren't people who really are known for their altruism. No. These are people who buy white cats purely to be stroking them when they swivel around in their chairs. Yes. I like that. That's nice, quippy Peter Parker kind of writing. I thought that was good. So yeah, pretty good issue though. Okay, let's move on. And we shall talk about Justice League Dark, number 12. Chaos Reigns. So here we are, 1 year later on Justice League Dark. We're in Chapter 5 of the Lords of Order, And this issue has some back and forth flipping between when Wonder Woman decided that they needed a Justice League Dark and kind of told the other League members about it, and what's going on currently. So it's an interesting setup, but mostly what happens is Wonder Woman and Zatanna fucking Thor Avengers Infinity War style enter onto this hopeless situation where the Lords of Order, led by Dr. Fate, are wiping out magic from magic users. And they show up wielding chaos magic that they were gifted from Mordru, the dark wizard Mordru. They show up wielding chaos magic and begin to just fucking trounce all over the Lords of Order by, throwing the chaos magic onto the other members of the Justice League Dark that are there. So we got like a dark magic Man-Bat and Swamp Thing and Detective Chimp, and that's really freaking cool. And then it starts becoming this huge battle. My favorite thing is this sequence where Man-Bat is wondering, okay, exactly how do I fight them? He says, I can see it, the magic underneath everything, the rules guiding every breeze, every flower. It's beautiful. I don't understand. What am I supposed to do? And Zatanna says, break it. Break it all. Well, what? The rules of order that underrule all of magic were written by them. Each of those rules gives them power. We need to take that power away. Break it all. And so literally she's just ripping in between the panels. She's in the white and she's just destroying the panels as a way of demonstrating that. And I thought that was just really, really cool. I really did get a kick out of that one. I guess it made some sense, but I do feel it was maybe too much of a it was maybe so much of a step away that it felt kind of more confusing and kind of took me out of the story a little bit compared to what I think it was intended to do. So Zatanna's fighting using magic without rules, but like as it was established earlier, her backwards talk is part of that tool that a magician or a sorcerer uses to keep some distance between themselves and the magic. The power of words, by talking backwards, you have distance between the things, and the cost of using magic can thus not directly affect you. And so here she's using chaos magic and breaking the rules, and so when she uses a spell, it's still kind of being done in a breaking the rules way, but it's also kind of like what she normally does. So here her spell is break it all, which if you were to spell it backwards would be LLA space IT space BR K EKARB. But instead it's spelled as KBRAETILAL. So it's like really, it's just mishing the letters all around within the word. And I don't know. That just seemed like such a departure that it seemed like a really weird choice to me. Eventually, they're able to work together and defeat Dr. Fate, though it looks like the other Lords of Order are escaping to fight another day. And luckily they're able to like bind the power of Nabu, who's the Lord of Order, in the Helmet of Fate. They're able to bind it just to the helmet and require a human to be wearing the helmet for Nabu's power to be accessed. And then finally, they're left with the Chaos Ruby that Mordru gave them, and they have to rebuild the rules of magic. Otherwise, they're gonna, they broke so many in this battle. And Wonder Woman's the only one that can. She's the only one that has the power, which is kind of where the flashbacks have come into the story, because it started with Wonder Woman determining that they needed a Justice League Dark, and Batman talking to her about how scared he is of magic and how she should be too, and Wonder Woman having to talk to him and explain why she needs to be a part of this. It ultimately comes down to Batman saying, then why spearhead this yourself? There are a dozen heroes who have walked in both worlds. She says, that's just it, Bruce. That's exactly it. I do walk in both worlds. We all do. We have seen terrifying, impossible things in our lives, and the only way we can continue to smile and fight in the light is by burying the abject horror. I am born of monsters and myths, a creature of story as much as the rest of them, and because of that, I think I see it differently. We all operate on that same aspect. There's a touch of magic to all of us. To pretend there isn't, to stay afraid of the bad things in the dark, it feels wrong. And so she picks up the ruby and she has to hold in her mind what she wants magic to be. And she's able to speak out to all magical beings at this point and saying, beings of magic, hear me everywhere this power radiates. I am Diana of Themyscira. I am Wonder Woman. For too long I have ignored the horror that your community's protectors have allowed. The old rules allowed a great darkness to emerge, and those you counted on to keep you safe from harm tried to feed you to that darkness. I am here to protect you. We are here to protect you. Believe in us. Believe in a brighter path of magic to lead us out of the dark. Believe that we can solve this crisis, and we will solve it. We are the Justice League of the Dark, and we will protect you. And she crushes the ruby. So chaos magic is now in balance, and rules have now been created in ordered magic. And she says, next, a new fate revealed. So there will be a new Dr. Fate, apparently, which is really cool. Yeah. This is just good. This is just well-written stuff, I gotta say. Really, really digging it. It's almost a perfect 12 issues. There's obviously the issues of Wonder Woman and the two standalone specials for the big event, but man, I'm damn tempted to do a reread or something of the first 12 issues or the first proper arc. It does really feel like this has been a proper arc, and everything does feel like it's kind of jumping off of each other. So I will say that the biggest problem this has is it's really been building from issue 1, so I don't think it's ever going to be really new reader friendly, quote unquote, but man, is it a good read if you just start from the beginning. I gotta say, I'm digging it. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and go on to Batman Beyond, number 33. Again, I feel like Jurgens just kind of really beats something over the head and drags it out for too long, but that being said, I'm still enjoying this story arc, even if I do feel like it probably could have just ended this issue, but at least there's a fresh new thing to it. So False Face has taken over Bruce Wayne's identity. Meanwhile, Batman is dealing with a supervillain named Split, who are actually two speedsters that are brothers that have to merge their bodies on occasion, most of the time. So he's dealing with that, and he's really kind of outclassed, which is unfortunate. I'd like to think Terry has grown a little bit. Meanwhile, Bruce Wayne is out gambling and picking up, questionable women. And and doing kind of some dumb stuff, I guess, but whatever. By just being really confrontational with the McGinnis lads. And so Terry decides, all right, now something's wrong with this guy. I got to talk to him one-on-one, and confronts him. At which point, Bruce Wayne shoots Batman in the chest, and I was like, okay, well that escalated quickly. Meanwhile, Molly goes to check out Arkham Asylum, and she has an encounter with who everyone thinks is Falseface. It turns out it's actually Bruce Wayne. Terry gets back to the cave. He's been shot in the chest, and now they all know that Bruce Wayne is Falseface. Yada 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 yada. And then here's the big thing. I lost Falseface. He could be anywhere. He could masquerade as anyone, from the street beggar to the mayor. Yeah, anyone. Cut to Terry McGinnis stumbling through an alley, not knowing who he is. Oh. Alright, whatever. It's fine. We'll just keep doing it. Again, I appreciate that the twist is obvious. I appreciate that we're just continuing the story now, that it's not going to play, is this really Bruce Wayne for 12 issues or anything like that. I feel like it could have been wrapped up by this issue, though. I don't feel you really needed this, but hey, whatever. I'm still digging it well enough. Let's go ahead and go on. Talk about Doctor Strange, number 15. This has got pretty typical bad guy betrays bad guy stuff, which is always kind of funny. So, this is complicated. Galactus is in the magical realms. Dormammu has taken hold of Galactus and granted him power and control over the mystic realms, believing that he can control Galactus because Mephisto told him he could or something, or he struck a bargain with Mephisto. But then when he really tries to exert dominance over Galactus just fucking wastes his ass. Which is, it's a little satisfying. Struggle as you might, your fate is preordained. I am not now, nor have I ever been, an underling. I am Galactus, commander of science and sorcery. That's nice. I like that. That's very Kirby-esque. So then Steven goes and makes a deal with Mephisto in order to try to get the magical users of the universe together to try to stop Galactus from merging all of magical and scientific reality. And it's getting some really cool, trippy art. I'm loving the scale of this. This does feel really, really big, which is nice. Meanwhile, Strange goes to talk to Eternity and the Living Tribunal to try to convince them to help intercede and stop the Galactus threat, but neither of them think it's really their problem per se, so they refuse. I still don't understand how one talks to Eternity. It's one of those really weird Marvel concepts. But anyway, Steven's able to unite all the magical users of this reality, and indeed just, I guess, generally random superheroes, to go to battle against Galactus. So that'll probably be the conclusion of the next issue. I don't know how you get much bigger than that. Yeah, seems like a good time. I'm into it. Cool. Can't wait for next issue. Nice ramping up of the stakes of the plot. Cool little cameos and everything. I'm digging it. It's fun. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and go on to Action Comics number 1012. I gotta say, I continue to love the way Bendis is doing these catch-up pages. it is very Marvel-esque, but he's slowly getting into just more of a general DC kind of feel with it and making them feel more natural and how he's presenting them. And that might be a little unfair. I'm sure, obviously, the art has a lot to do with how to execute them and what kind of references to use. But the concept of how we're going to throw these catch-up pages in there have been pretty cool. So this is, Simon... S-Z-Y, Simon Kudransky? So yeah, this page is just the Daily Planet's Twitter page, and I guess we're in Jimmy Olsen's, maybe? Yeah, no, that we're in someone else's context. Who is it, Lois, maybe? Yeah, I guess we're in Lois's desktop, and we're just looking at the Daily Planet Twitter. The first few tweets are pretty much all you need to know, but there's just like a lot of cool little, that's neat stuff around here, like who to follow, Cat Grant, Jack Ryder, Vicky Vale, that's funny. Trending, Event Leviathan, Gem World Crisis, Unity Saga, Wonder Twins, Lex Lucifer, Dial H for Hero, Year of the Villain. Nice little cross-company marketing there. The Central City of the FBI and the Central City Division of the FBI and the Barr County Sheriff's Office are currently looking for Red Hood in connection with today's Leviathan attacks. Exclusive Talia al Ghul, 15 things you should know about the world's most captivating terrorist. Where's the one? Okay. Exclusive Heroes in Crisis After Hours, renewed for 2 seasons just weeks after debut. Heroes in Crisis After Hours, Wally West, Batman, Tom King. That's funny. Hashtag Tom King, hashtag Heroes in Crisis. So yeah, I don't know, I was pretty happy with that. There's even some cool pictures in the recent photos and videos, and it's just different panels with Superman and stuff. Come on. De-blur. Focus! Come on, projector, focus! That's neat, though. I like that. That was a fun idea. So yeah, it was just neat little stuff that got thrown in here. Meanwhile, we pretty much just continue as things have been, with the invisible mafia of Metropolis kind of working around Superman, trying to figure out what everything with the DEO means. We check in with Superman and Lois at the Fortress of Solitude. This is all taking place before Superman heads off to space to deal with the events that were going on in the last couple issues of Superman. And that's all well and good, I guess. Mainly, surprisingly, the main focus of this issue has just been Miss Good, who's the villain, the Red Cloud, and her interview with a woman named Rose, who has a split personality named Thorn, who's kind of like really intense vigilante. Kind of goes beyond the line kind of thing. And I was reasonably impressed with the panel layouts here. I thought that was a really cool way to do it, because when this reporter's talking to Rose, the panel layouts are nice, beautiful leaves and the rose petals and stuff. And then you turn the page, and then when she starts talking to Thorn, the panels, or when she starts becoming Thorn, the panels slowly become the thorns of the rose, and that, I thought that was pretty cool. There's also a nice little, more subtle thing where the background of the page turns from white to gray. I thought that was a really neat touch. So Thorn is telling Miss Good about all the stuff she's done recently, and how she was approached by Leviathan for some unknown reason. And that's, I don't know, that's kind of cool. It's a neat idea. And so we're just getting more looks at Leviathan. We'll see where things go, I guess, by any other name. So that's the name of the issue. The story. I thought that was pretty cool. Again, just good issue. I've definitely been enjoying the action title much more than the Superman title. But I thought this issue was pretty strong overall. So things just continue par for the course, I guess. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and go on to Wonder Woman number 73. I don't know what happened to G. Willow Wilson. I was a little surprised to open this up and realize that Stephen Orlando is credited as the guest writer here, along with Aaron Loperezzi as the guest penciler, Matt Ryan as the guest inker. So, last issue of Wonder Woman ended with them getting to the dimension of Chi, maybe, C-H-I. And we're like, okay, well, why is... And Wonder Woman talking about, like, I never thought I'd be back here. And so we're like, all right, so what's it going to be like? And then we open this issue, and we've got a pretty good answer of what the dimension of Chi is like. So this issue's title, the story of this issue, is The Queen and the Empress. And we open on this page. Queen Hippolyta, you're an impostor to my name, trespassing upon the Themysciran Empire. There can be only one penalty. The only penalty will be yours unless you free my daughter, Empress Hippolyta. So we've got like this kind of wacky, very Silver Age concept. And Wonder Woman explains it was years ago, two Hippolytas face to face. My mother and I were trapped in the dimension Chi, I don't know. My mother created it, a dimension where her every action would be mirrored darkly by her devil's advocate of a double. She never expected we'd be stranded there. The Empress, my mother's double, was paranoid where she was kind. We were captured seconds after our arrival. The Empress feared me most of all because where my Hippolyta embraced motherhood in Dimension Chi, the Empress abandoned it in favor of power. And that's just like, I'm all here for this. This is a great concept for a story. Stephen Orlando has really proven himself to me as a really strong Wonder Woman writer. Between this and the brief stint he had on the book, in between, what was his name? Robinson, and I believe that's it. Robinson and G. Willow Wilson. Stephen Orlando really did knock it out the park for me, and as much as I've been enjoying G. Willow Wilson's run, one issue of Stephen Orlando's is still one of my favorite Wonder Woman issues I've read in a long time. And to see him come back and just have fun with this, I was really impressed. I don't know what made him have to come in and write this issue, but I'm here for it. So yeah, there's this very, mirror kind of situation where there's an evil Hippolyta. Not an evil, but like a very different Hippolyta. And, the Empress says that the only way she'll let her and Diana leave, because she suspects they're actually coming to invade, is if she can take the throne, because Empress Hippolyta has established a rule that in order to stave off invasions and such, that she will grant the throne to anyone who can best her in contests of skill, provided they are worthy, kind of thing. And so Queen Hippolyta challenges Empress Hippolyta, and yeah, we get some just amazing panels of their contests of skill. The first one's the best. I gotta say, criticism, they blew their load way too early, because the Kanga Chariot race is fucking amazing, and I love it, and I'm so mad that they blew that right out the gate. That's that's almost a bad choice, but it's I guess you lead with your strongest. So there's the Kanga chariot race, the light darts, which are like laser guns, the contest of storytelling, the contest of global strategy, the contest of using the lasso, the contest of medicine, the contest of bullets and bracelets, the contest of aviation, the contest of the foot race. I like the aviation. I like the medicine. That's cool. I'm a little disappointed I'm not seeing a purple ray in there. Gotta say, that's a bit of a missed opportunity for a neat little nod. Aviation and invisible planes. That's all really cool. This is all really fun Silver Agey stuff. And then there's personal combat. But in the middle of their bout, Themyscira is attacked by Atom World. And Empress Hippolyta says, Atomia, you know her? Her microscopic realm moves with the speed and size of an atom. Her forces enlarge up from thin air. I became aware of Atomia through Themyscira's attempts to break the quantum membrane. So you invaded first. This isn't an attack, it's a counterattack. That is so fucking fun. I love that idea. Atom World. Oh my god, that's so good. So yeah, Queen Hippolyta convinces Empress Hippolyta to let her fight by her side, and whoever defeats the invaders from Atom World will be the true winner of their contest, since they've been tied ever since. And during the battle, it looks like they're quickly becoming overwhelmed, and that all will be lost. But then Diana breaks out of the cell she's been held in and saves the both of them. And this proves to Empress Hippolyta that she clearly is not an enemy, and they all work together to defeat Atomia. But it is Diana who shows her Wonder Woman-ness coming through and says, your forces are routed, it is over. And Tamia says, you would have me grovel? I'd have you stand, Tamia. You fought for what you thought was right. Respect your enemies and redefine them. And so a peace is negotiated, and all is well that ends well. And so then we get kind of back to the main story of what's been going on, and the reason that they're all here. And what this means to Wonder Woman is this dimension was apparently tied to or dependent upon Hippolyta's imagination, Hippolyta's mind. So if the dimension of Chai is still here, then the Amazons are still here. And says, next, that's right, at long last, the return of the Amazons. So cool. I'm ready as can be for it. Great issue. Steve Orlando does a really good Wonder Woman. It'll never happen because her books don't sell well enough, but give me a Princess of the Amazons book. Let Stephen Orlando write a Princess of the Amazons book. Let G. Willow Wilson write the Wonder Woman book. Bam! It'll be like Detective Comics and Batman titles. We'll have 2 Wonder Woman books going concurrently. I'll read both of them, and I'll be the only one doing it. But damn it would be sweet. Alrighty. That finishes it for regular issues this week, but we still have a little bit of a treat. In addition to Trade Talk, we still have Batman Damned number 3 to discuss. This was an interesting read. I do think that there was a few mistakes made with this release, besides, censoring Batman's dick in future reprintings and stuff. That was a dumb move. That they wanted to draw it for a reason. It does fit with the tone of the book. Come the fuck on. But I do think that putting the issues 2 months apart for a 3-issue series was a really poor choice. Like, I get the, we want to give creators time to get it out and really polish it, and that's all well and good, but just put that in advance, just give them that time in advance as opposed to 2 months in between issues, because I was really foggy on a lot of details here, but the main stuff I got, and I did quite enjoy. It was quite an interesting read. Brian Azzarello has a very particular take on Batman, and I kind of dig it, in a certain respect. So yeah, we start off with Batman in a coffin, buried alive, which is always a good place for Batman. And then Swamp Thing raises the coffin out of the ground to save his life and starts arguing with him. And you just get, God, Lee Bermejo drawing Swamp Thing. It's amazing. It's absolutely incredible. And really, I gotta say, even though I was a little lost on some of the details of the story, I gotta say that Lee Bermejo's art just made this whole thing worthwhile. Some of this stuff is so gorgeous. His take on Swampy is incredible. I also like John Constantine wearing a domino mask and stealing Batman's belt. That's pretty cool. So ultimately, they're attacked by the Enchantress, and Batman doesn't quite know why. So he and Constantine decide to get answers. And they go to a bar, a magic bar, where they meet Zatanna, and we just get, again, Lee Bermejo's gorgeous imagery of Zatanna there, and on the next page, wonderful image of Zatanna there. Really, really impressive artwork. So they go to Zatanna, and she performs a ceremony and brings them to the past, to the site of the Wayne murders. And it is there that we see Enchantress clutching on to a young Bruce Wayne. Bruce be mine, Constantine, mine, deal be made, not to be broken. Tearless for fearless. Be sorry, you be fearless. You pay with tears, deal was struck, no change, we dance. I love that idea. That is one of the darkest fucking takes on the Batman origin ever, and I like the conceit of how it's worked in here. But that Thomas and Martha Wayne actually had a really bad marriage, and Bruce Wayne would hear them fighting at night as a child, and it caused him to just cry. And then the Enchantress, this fucking monster under the bed, came and said, I can make it stop. All you have to do is pay me with tears. And then she does it. That's a fucking twisted ass idea for an origin. And so like this whole thing kind of develops, and Constantine shoots her, and all kinds of craziness. Oh wow, there's a lot of references to very iconic Joker imagery in this issue. I thought it was really cool. So there's another Batman 89 reference. There's another one coming up that I caught the first time. I didn't quite catch it that time. But yeah, so they're able to defeat the Enchantress, and Batman goes to the GCPD morgue in his mind because he's clearly aware that none of this is real, and he meets the Spectre. who's there to pass judgment on Batman as he has passed judgment on others. And we get to where this all started. Where Batman was in a fight with the Joker stabbed him and then almost fell off the side of the bridge. Batman chose not to help him up because he was worried about what he'd do since he'd already just stabbed him. And so it's left, the Joker falls off the bridge, and that's kind of where this story is started. And it all kind of boils down to this conversation with the Spectre. You must pay for your crime. Aren't you being a little harsh? Harsher than you? You are judged as you would judge others. I wish you were still alive, Batman says as he looks at the Joker's body in the morgue. And then he gets drawn into the thing, slammed in there. And then we get just a really dark-ass ending. And here we are, back where we started. A fall. 'Twas the ending of our story. Splash. Or perhaps it's just the start of another one. And again, we get some just absolutely iconic Joker imagery redone in Lee Bermejo's art style. Oh my word. I can't believe he went for that. Give me just one sec. I'm gonna take over my screen again here, because I actually pulled this to get it up for you guys. Alright. I pulled all the art I needed. So here's the Lee Bermejo page I just showed you. I want to focus in on one thing in just a sec, so let me zoom in on this panel. But yeah, so here's the Lee Bermejo page that we just saw in Batman Damned. And now, let me just go over to this. There's Brian Boland's art from The Killing Joke. Boop, 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 boop. Like, even these panels, like getting up off the ground, not quite there, but like, look, this staggering over, and the close-up right there as he starts to laugh. And I'm really, really impressed with this detail. Part of me was like, oh, it's not quite the same without the ha 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 in the background. But if you look at the lights of the city, soft focused in the background, you can start to see it. Let me get out the paintbrush here. This will be cool. Let's do for like an 8. Sure, that's too small. 17. There we go. I'm really impressed by that. That's a really cool move. And then you see it's reflected down here in the water too. So it is literally surrounding him, but it's just part of the background. I think that is such a cool choice. Lee Bermejo did some amazing work with that. I gotta say, that is such a cool choice. I thought that was super impressive. But then there's also this little part of the panel up here that I thought was pretty cool too. Oh, missed it. Alright. So there's this panel that I've highlighted here, and that's also a reference to Batman 89. I thought that was a really neat little pull. I know it's like it's a much vaguer reference, but when you've got the other thing I pointed out with John Constantine, like, you know, aiming a gun with the cigarette in his mouth and everything, that is very much a direct pull from Batman 89 as well. So I was really impressed by the art in this issue more than anything else. I gotta be honest. Alrighty, how do I get this back up? Boop, boop, boop. All right. Overall, I thought it was a really interesting issue where it's kind of like looking into that kind of the question posed by Batman Begins of, is it the same thing to kill to just let somebody die, when really it's their fault that they're in that situation. And this kind of takes a look at Bruce's decisions and Bruce's morality in that light in a really, really stark way, and I thought that was a really interesting choice. I'm going to have to reread all 3 issues and really get a sense of it, because this is like a really interesting and I feel kind of thought-provoking take on Batman, but it's so spread out over such a long time that I'm not sure if I'm catching all the details I need to be. So I thought this was pretty cool overall, though. And again, Lee Bermejo's art, I don't need any damn context for it. It's just beautiful. I thought the direct nod to Brian Boland was a great choice too, and it looked great. Yeah. Alrighty. Whew. That's gonna do it for the main setup of books this week. But fear not, Trade Talk has returned. So let's go ahead and get into that. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Trade Talk. I am Sid Part 2. I'm glad the show is back because my audio drama is done. Today we'll be talking about Tales of the Green Lantern Corps Volume 3, which will be a fun little thing because, hey, guess what my audio drama was on? Green Lantern Ring of Victory, fan-made audio drama. It premiered this Saturday, last Saturday for those watching this after the fact. It premiered. So if you're watching this after Monday the something or other, you can go check that out. I'll be sure to leave a link in the description if you're into Green Lantern, Monday the 1st of July. But hey, you know what? You know what else is fun? I can just show you the trailer real quick. So I'm going to use that as a little bit of shameless promotion. So we're going to do that before I get into Trade Talk this week. Ha 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 ha!
In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light.
There are many tales in the Book of O, but have you ever heard one that's not about a Green Lantern?
In loudest din.
Captain to all hands, load the escape pods. This is a full evacuation.
But sir, the gravity! The pods won't make it!
Or hush profound.
So, then we're doomed.
My ears catch evil's slightest sound.
Attention, Green Lanterns. You are harboring Grylar.
Let those who toll out evil's knell.
This is a crime punishable by extermination.
Beware my power, the F-sharp bell!
Alrighty, shameless plugging over. I couldn't help myself. Hope you enjoyed. Anyway, yeah. So I figured let's keep the Green Lantern feels rolling, and let's talk about another volume of Tales of the Green Lantern Corps. This is Volume 3. And unfortunately, I did not pick something that's really gonna just keep the hype train and the good feels going because. Whew! Do I have some stuff to say about this? This was a time. Let's start with super nitpicky thing to complain about. Alright? So the cover release for this obviously updated the logo to the more, mainstream Green Lantern Corps logo, which is all well and good and all, but there's a really odd choice, because you notice Kilowog's holding the logo over here, but then just not over here, which is weird. It's because they updated the logo from the old school one. And I feel like that was a really poor choice because it looks really weird without Kilowog supporting both sides of the logo. So that was an odd choice. So there's just a really, really specific complaint. Now let's talk about some of the stuff I liked, because unfortunately that is going to be very little. As I was reading this, I was like, man, I'm having a harder time getting through some of it because of the older school pacing, but what I'm reading I am actually really enjoying. Into a point. So I want to talk about the stuff I did legitimately enjoy. So the premise of this is set shortly after the Infinite Crisis events. Or wait. No. Crisis on Infinite Earths. So this is like the first big... This is right after the first big reboot to the DC Universe. And in it, the Guardians apparently decided to head off to space, or to a new realm with their sisters, the Zamorans. This was before the Zamorans were blue, and they decided to leave the Corps in charge of itself, because that always works out. And apparently that was a really poor decision, because like 7 Corps members decide, all right, let's all go to Earth. So that's a weird premise, but what we've got is, this is our cast. We got Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart, Solak, Kilowog, Arisia, Chip, and Katmatui all decide to go to Earth. Because Katmatui is dating Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart wants to go live back on Earth. Hal Jordan still wants to live on Earth since he's worked so hard to get his secret identity back from God knows what. Arisia wants to go live on Earth because she's got a crush on Hal Jordan. Kilowog wants to go live on Earth because that's where all the action is. Fun fact, this is actually the story that introduced Kilowog. What? And Solak was lonely, so he decided to go live on Earth. And Ship, because of the crisis, no one remembers him on his home planet, so he decides to go live on Earth. It's weird. It's a weird premise, but yeah, Earth just got 7 Green Lanterns. Thank God that never happened again. So already I'm a little salty, but I'm like, all right, whatever. Let's see where this goes. And ultimately, I'm kind of digging the premise. It's kind of a fun idea. We're getting some cool, fun, Silver Agey stuff. This, again, it's the thing that introduces Kilowog. He never existed before this. Steve Englehart is the writer on this, and he's got a weird idea of how biology works. The Green Lanterns quickly come under attack from a villain named Whiteout, who uses his powers to just like erase parts of the Green Lanterns' bodies, which is weird. But Kilowog's like got the weirdest comeback for this. Like, that may confuse someone with a complicated body like a human, Whiteout, but Kilowog's body is no way complicated. I crouch or I jump, that's all there is to me. What? Okay, if you crouch, you need muscles to crouch. If you jump, you need muscles to jump. If you have muscles, you need blood to fuel those muscles. Like, less complicated body. I don't get it. You need bones to support the structure. What? So that was an odd one. But overall, the first half of this book, I'm actually quite digging. All the Green Lanterns hanging out together. There's all kinds of wackiness. And then, really, it takes a turn, because in the first issue, the second issue, rather, they're fighting these villains, and that are all being organized because they don't like the idea of a Green Lantern Corps on Earth. But then there's one member of the team that just sits there and does nothing, of the villain team that sits there and does nothing, and everyone's really suspicious of it. And then in the next issue, the Green Lanterns confront these guys again, and then there's another member who does some stuff. He's Truck, and he's kind of like a juggernaut, I guess. And he just kind of bulldozes over Jon Stewart. Poor Jon Stewart. Did he ever have anything to do? Meanwhile, we show that Kilowog's actually capable of really cool, complex constructs, which is a neat idea. He's creating all these big medical apparatuses for people, like these iron lungs. So anyway, they get into that, and then Chip, who's of course very sad that no one on his home planet remembers him, and now he's deciding to live on Earth, so he's going to go meet with all of his relatives here on Earth. So he goes to meet some chipmunks and tries to talk to them, and he's like, they don't understand, they can't, their brains are so primitive, they're not like me, they're just animals. And he goes and tries to talk to some raccoons, and just the same result. He's so heartbroken. He's all alone on a world of biggies. And that's like really good kind of. That's the kind of Green Lantern writing shit that I just love. Where it's like, oh, here's this really wacky character. Okay, let's actually take it seriously, and in this case, go kind of dark with it. And he's just this poor guy all alone on a world where he feels more alien than he ever could have. And finally, the Green Lanterns again confront the villains, and now there's another new villain who's Magillion, another new villain with another new power. And as the Green Lanterns are fighting them, a major reveal takes place. It's like, this is getting to be a habit. Ah, woman, I'm not a woman. Magillion is a fiction, just as Truck and Polestar were fictions. But they were necessary stages for my reformulation as I came to exist under Earth conditions. Oh my goodness, that voice. I know that voice, says Chip. Yes, Chip, I am indeed your oldest foe, the one foe you have never defeated. Dr. Ubix of the planet Helven. So I've got the main villain of the book so far has been an evil space wizard beaver. And I gotta say, I was digging the fuck out of it. This was super enjoyable. And the rest of the next issue is like, he goes into his origin and Chip's origin and talks about how they, what their constant rivalry was like on planet Helven, and how Chip became a Green Lantern, and yada yada yada. And it's super enjoyable. I was just smiling 10 miles wide while I was reading that. That's just so cool, and it's the kind of thing I like. Like Dr. Ubix kidnaps Chip's girlfriend, dunks her in honey, and sticks her in a pod where she's being clawed at by big-ass bears, and then summons Green Lantern there, and puts Chip in that situation. Chip has to save the day. That's awesome. I love shit like that. I am super into it. But then Dr. Ubix realizes that if he uses the power he has over Chip, since he's completely incapacitated the Green Lantern Corps on Earth, if he uses the power that he has over Chip and kills him, then he'll be all alone as well. And that really does break his heart. And so he can't bring himself to do it. And then because the weapon he was using is based on his will, he starts to fade away since he no longer has the will to use it. But then Chip realizes that he doesn't want that, because then, again, he'd be all alone on this strange alien world, and they have to work together to save each other. And it was really sweet. That was really, really cool. Okay. So that's a good half the book. About half the book is actually legitimately charming and really fun. But there's something underlying it. Throughout even the good stuff, there's moments where it's like, okay, come again, and it's just this really odd thing kind of going on in the background. So here's Aresia. Now, if you don't know Arisia's 14, and she's got a crush on Hal Jordan. And Hal doesn't like her. He's a grown-ass man. She's a teenager. He's not interested. And he's trying, to still be nice. It's like, hey, listen, honey, no thanks. He literally calls her honey. So maybe he's playing into it a little more than he should. But he's shooting her down. When they get to Earth, they all decide that they need to have new costumes. So Arisia asks Hal what she thinks of his, or what he thinks of hers. And it's like, "Pooh, I'm as grown up as anybody, aren't I, Hal?" No comment. I'm like, okay, this is getting to be kind of weird, y'all. And throughout the story, Arisia's been having these feigning spells, which is pretty typical, That's your first red flag, bad writing for a woman if she's having feigning spells. But she's really, really flirtatious with Hal. "Geez, Hal, I was hoping you'd care for me someday, but this isn't exactly what I meant." Do you have to turn everything into a joke, Arisia? This could be serious. And so they're all talking, and Hal kind of has to pull her aside and have a talk with her. It's like, she's like, "I love to watch Kilowog work, but how about we get on with serious business?" And Hal says, "Honey, let's have a little private talk. You've said often enough you respect my experience. That's not all I said. What I said, Hal. Listen to me now. Kilowog's machines are great, but you're alien to him. He could have missed something. You've got to keep an eye on yourself. Tell us if anything else happens. And one more thing, young lady, you've got to stop flirting with me." "But, Arisia, you're half my age." "No, I'm not, Hal, no. I'm 14 by Earth standards, but Gravos 4 circles its sun twice as often as Earth. That makes me 28, really." "Don't be silly. Your planet could have circled its sun 100 times. You're still a teenager in my eyes, and I don't date teenagers. Honey, you have a whole new world here. There are millions of boys your age." "Boys? Oh, Hal, I don't want boys." "Arisia, I didn't want to hurt you." Good job, Hal. You're handling the situation as best as any man could. Why the fuck is Steve Englehart putting Hal Jordan in this situation? I think I know the answer. It's because Green Lantern fans at the time and probably still today are a bunch of thirsty bitches, and they saw Arisia and they're like, "Man, I really want to fuck Arisia, but she's 14 and that makes me feel creepy. Can anyone do something where Hal Jordan can fuck Arisia so I can fuck Arisia vicariously through Hal Jordan?" And apparently Steve Englehart was like, "Yeah, I got you." So anyway, a bunch of shit goes down. There's a whole struggle with the Green Lantern Corps now being on Earth and humans not really liking aliens, but it really does fade to the background of I don't really give a fuck anymore because there's a lot of awkward shit going on with Arisia and Hal, and I don't like it. And this is one of those things where I've always known it was a thing in DC with Hal Jordan, but I've never actually had to read it, and now that I have, it's not. So yeah, they're fighting Black Hand, and Black Hand knocks Hal and Arisia out and drains all their ring power and sends them down a goddamn canyon. And so they're sends them down a mine shaft, and they're stuck in a mine shaft. It's the cliffhanger of the issue. And then they wake up in the mine shaft. Arisia, honey, how are you? All right. I'm alive, and so are you. That counts. I remember. Arisia, huh? What? You're almost as tall as I am. You're a woman. But, stop it. You're a Green Lantern, Arisia. Get a hold of yourself. Smack. Okay, Hal Jordan. Can we not? Is this something we could, not? So besides smacking the woman, they begin to have a whole conversation about what has happened to Arisia. And because she's been wearing the Green Lantern ring, and the ring responds to will, and what you want is part of your will, Arisia wanted to be older, so she'd be old enough to date Hal Jordan. And the ring aged her up. So it's totally not creepy anymore. What was the thinking? Who thought this was a good idea? Who was like, yeah, she's 13, but she's a sexy 13, so let's go ahead and age her up so that everyone can not feel guilty about, rubbing one out, thinking about Arisia. What the fuck? Oh my god! This is such a stupid fucking idea. So anyway, Hal still has a conversation. He's still really fucking, no, I'm not fucking with you. You're still 13 in my eyes, even if you are, physically a woman now. And Arisia really starts putting on the charms. And meanwhile, the Green Lantern Corps is fighting Black Hand, and Arisia asks Hal about all the women he's dated, because that's a real turn-on for the ladies, I got to tell you, folks. And, yeah, eventually the Corps defeats Black Hand and comes and finds Hal and Arisia, and, why? Why was this a good decision? This volume continues, or not this volume, but this story continues in the next volume. That is literally the last panels of the book. So this story continues in another volume, Green Lantern Corps, Beware Their Power, I believe it's called. I don't get it. I really don't. I very little motivation to read that shit. So yeah, Hal Jordan fucking a 13-year-old was one of those things. I'd always known about it. I'd assumed it was much earlier in continuity in comics. I assumed that shit was like in the 60s or something. I had no idea it was as late as the 80s. That's crazy. What the fuck? This is post-crisis. It's like so close to the modern era. What the fuck? Who thought it was a good idea? Who is okay with this? Who is the editor on this shit? Alright, Steve Englehart writer, Joe Stanton penciler, Mark Farmer inker, L. Lewis Boa letterers, original series colors, Joe Stanton and Bruce Peterson with Alice collection cover. They really didn't bother. Okay, Andy Heffler, editor, original series, and Bob Harara's group editor, collected editions. Bob J., editor of this volume. Okay. What I really feel is going on here, what's at the heart of all this is, again, like I said earlier, I feel like Green Lantern fans at the time were thirsty as fuck for Arisia, but she was 13, so everyone that was thirsty felt awkward about it, and so there was a push to, develop the relationship with Hal Jordan a bit, and so it'd be okay for her to fap with her. And that's wrong on so many fucking levels, but fine, whatever. It was a stupid ass decision. It's just, it's so fucked up. Like, it's wrong to be a child molester, but if she's willing to really put in the work and not look like a child, then it's okay. That's the message there, right? Like, that's... it just feels gross. Hal Jordan has had just a fucking time of it, of just being put in really awkward-ass situations, and just having some really cringy history. Calling his friend, his assistant character, Pie Face, fucking a 13-year-old. Ick. Just ick. Man. It's very uncomfortable is all I come down to on it. The saving grace here, since I looked up some stuff to see what the fuck was going on in industry around the time, and I couldn't find much, but not a lot of people seem to know, so I'll put this out there. I don't think it fixes it properly. I think the way to fix it is just pretend it never happened, but barring that, the retcon that Jeff Johns, I believe, introduced to try to just stamp this shit down is that, yeah, Aresia is only 13 on her planet, but her planet is on an extended orbit around their sun. So in Earth years, she's like 200 plus. And I'm like, fine. That completely contradicts literally what is in this book, word for word, but fucking fine. Whatever. Just ick. Just like, if you're not gonna just pretend it never happened, then I guess that works, but just fucking ick. God damn it, guys. Who the fuck thought that was a good idea? Ew. I'm done. I'm over it. Go watch or listen to my Green Lantern audio drama. I promise it's more compelling, better Green Lantern writing than whatever the fuck that was. Bye.